All right, in this series, we're gonna be talking about how to work with real estate agents so that you can find good deals, so that you can make money and profit in real estate. And on today's video, we're gonna be talking about understanding how real estate agents work. Let's do it right now. Okay, Jerry Norton here, and welcome to another video here in the Real Estate Freedom TV series. This is a special series that we put together all about working with real estate agents. Now, real estate agents can be a great source of deals, on-market deals, which are listed with real estate agents. And so we put together a series of videos here all about how to work with agents, some of the strategies so that they bring you good deals, how to make offers to them, and just really work with agents successfully so that you can find and get good deals that you can flip for profit. So that's what this is all about here. And on this video here, we're gonna be focusing on understanding how these real estate agents work. Other videos that we're gonna put together in this series, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna group them together into a playlist. You can watch that playlist. Just go to the playlist on the channels, look for the Working with Real Estate Agents, and you can watch those there and see the list of those and watch those. Okay, so let's jump in here. Now, understanding how real estate agents work. So let's break it down here. When a seller decides that they want to sell their property and they decide that they want to hire a real estate agent. Okay, so we have a seller here and the seller decides, I want to sell my property and I want to hire an agent to sell the property. Now, when a seller hires an agent, that's what we call on market. On market. Now, on market simply means that it's listed with a real estate agent. Once that real estate agent is hired to sell the property, what do? Well, the first thing that they're gonna do is they're gonna put the property on what's called the MLS, Multiple Listing Service. Now, the MLS is a private place where just real estate agents collaborate to buy and sell real estate. They work with sellers and buyers, and you have to be licensed real estate agent to get access to this multiple listing service. So they put the property on there, and in essence, what the agent is saying is they're saying to other agents, hey, if you have a buyer you're working with and they're interested in this property, then come talk to me, we'll work together, we'll see if we can get the seller and the buyer to agree on a price and have a successful transaction. That's what they do. They collaborate and work together amongst themselves as agents. By the way, I'm a licensed real estate agent, actually a broker, had my license now for, almost 15 years, I guess. I got it right when I first started investing in real estate. So trust me, I understand how real estate agency works, and I'll be teaching you that here. So it goes on the MLS. It's the first thing that happens is it gets listed for sale on the MLS. But when that happens, what happens is it then rolls over into all of the public websites. So Realtor.com, Trulia.com, Zillow.com, Redfin.com, and a bunch of others. So it goes on the MLS first, and then it rolls into those other websites. They aggregate that data and they put it on their websites. Now it becomes public knowledge. It goes on the MLS first, which is private, but usually within hours or the next day, it's now out on all the public sites. That means buyers who are searching for homes can quickly and easily find these properties because it's on the internet. It's on market, it's public, everybody knows about it. Okay, so first thing you need to understand about working with agents and working with on-market deals is it's public knowledge and everybody knows about it, which means there's more competition. Okay, now let's break down how agency works here. Now that it's on the MLS and you have a real estate agent involved, what happens? We have two different agents involved. We have the list agent and we have what I call the buyer's agent. Okay, two different agents. This is the agent that got the listing with the owner, right? So they got the listing with the owner. And a buyer's agent is working with a buyer in the marketplace, looking to buy a house. Now there's two completely different people, right? One's got the listing, one's got the buyer. This one puts it on the MLS and they're representing the seller. This one has a buyer and they're looking at the buyer's best interest and they're out showing the buyer homes. So these two people are eventually going to work together. They're going to collaborate. So if this buyer's agent shows a home that this listing agent has a listing on, and they start talking, then they'll start to negotiate. These two will work together. This one representing the buyer, this one representing the seller, and that's how transactions get put together, right? Common real estate. Well, how are these two compensated? That's something that most people don't quite understand how these agents work. Well, typically, and there's no rule to this, right? It can be negotiated. A lot of people don't know that, but it can totally be negotiated. But typically, the listing agent gets 3% and the buyer's agent gets 3%. So if it's a $100,000 sale, then the listing agent would get $3,000 and the buyer's agent would get $3,000. They each would get $3,000. That's 3% of $100,000. So they get a commission typically for what they're doing. Now, who pays the 3% and the 3%? Who pays this 6%? The seller pays it. The seller pays the full 6%. So the buyer out looking at homes, he's not paying any money for his agent to help him. The seller is agreeing that they're going to pay a total of 6%, 3% for the listing agent helping them market and sell the property, and 3% to a buyer's agent who has a buyer. Okay? And so the seller typically ends up paying 6%. So that's important to understand. A lot of people don't quite grasp how that works. So it's 3% to the listing, 3% to the buyer, total of 6% paid by the seller. Okay, does that make sense now? Okay, so you now, if you're an investor out looking for deals, what typically most people do is they go and they get a buyer's agent. They get a buyer's agent, and that buyer's agent is going to give them a list of properties and they're going to show them homes. And then as an investor, just like a retail buyer, once you find a property you like, you're going to work with your buyer's agent. They're going to submit their offer to the listing agent, and you're going to hopefully buy a house. Now that's how everybody does real estate. It's the typical way that real estate happens. What I want to do is I want to teach you a completely out of the box, unconventional way to find and buy on-market deals. And this is what I call my double dip strategy. It's a strategy that I have been doing for years, ever since I started in real estate. It's allowed me to buy hundreds and probably thousands of deals all on market, working with agents, but it is not your typical way of doing real estate. And the best way for me to position this, and I'm going to go into more detail in the next video, but the best way for me to position this is to explain what dual agency means. Okay, so dual agency is when the listing agent is also the buyer's agent. They're both. Now, how would that happen? Well, let me give you a scenario. Let's say that there's a house for sale and there's a sign in the yard that says for sale, and it's the listing agent, right, who put the sign out in the yard. And because they're representing the seller, and it's got their phone number. And let's say that a buyer's driving down the street, and the buyer sees that sign in the yard and says, "Whoa, that house is for sale? I love this neighborhood. I love this street. We're ready to buy now. I'm going to call and find out about it." So they call on the sign, and who answers the phone? The listing agent. Now, what's the first question the listing agent asks that person that calls the phone? They ask, "Are you represented?" Are you represented? Meaning, are you working with an agent already? Because if you are, then they're going to need to talk to that agent and work with the agent. If the person says, "No, I'm not working with anybody. I just saw the sign, but I'm really interested in that house," what does that listing agent do? They say, "Oh, great. Let me help you. Let's set up a showing. Let's look at the house." And then that listing agent tries to pick them up as their buyer's agent. Now, in that situation where the listing agent also has the buyer, they sign what's called a dual agency agreement. That means, hey, I'm representing both parties. I'm representing the seller and I'm representing the buyer. Now, a lot of people think there's a conflict of interest there, and maybe there is, but that's a very common thing called dual agency. Now, they have to agree to it, but that happens all the time. If I'm the seller and an agent comes to me and says, "Hey, I have your listing, but I also have a person I'm working with that's a buyer. that's interested in your property, are you okay if I represent them as well? I have a buyer. I'm like, yeah, heck yeah, you have a buyer. Let's get a deal done. Bring your buyer. Let's see if we can make something happen here, right? So now though, as a dual agency situation, what happens? Well, that agent who's representing the seller on the listing and the buyer as the buyer's agent, they're gonna get the full 6%. This is like a dream come true for a real estate agent when they get dual agency, because now they get 6% on that transaction, not 3%. They're the listing agent and they're the buyer's agent, 6%. Isn't that awesome? And if you're watching this right now and you're a real estate agent, you're like, oh man, that's the end all be all is when you can become a dual agent on a transaction. And again, some states are kind of, real estate is governed state by state. So some places, some brokerages, real estate offices have some pretty strict rules about dual agency. Some say, you know what, just so there's no conflict of interest, we don't do dual agency in this office. But it's not that it's illegal. If someone says to me, oh, dual agency is illegal. No, it's not. It's not illegal. Your office may not practice it, but that doesn't make it illegal. It's called dual agency, and it's a normal real estate transaction. There's paperwork that has to be done to do it correctly, but it's not a matter of illegal. It's a matter of, does the agent do it or does the brokerage do it? Okay, so don't tell me that. I don't want someone telling me, oh, you can't do that. Yes, you can, right? It's just a matter of, will your office do it? So dual agency is when you get both sides at 6%. Now, what I want you to do, and I hope this was helpful, I hope you really need to understand how these agents work as an investor, because you're going to be working with listing agents, you're going to be working with buyer's agents. You might have this dual agency situation, which I'm going to teach you how to do strategically on the next video. So understanding how agency works in this video really is to set you up for the next video that I'm going to do, which is what I call my double dip strategy, where we're going to eliminate the buyer's agent altogether, not use a buyer's agent, and go directly to the listing agent and let them get 6%. I'm gonna teach you all about it here on the next video. By the way, everything that I'm teaching you here, I call this my agent double dip technique. It's a really cool strategy. Everything in this series I put together in this really nice PDF. You can download this. It's got all the scripts. It's got all the breakdown of all the steps, everything you need to know to do this and work with agents and have success. Right here in this, you can click the link in the description. You can get that for free. Download it, have it as a resource. It's yours for free. My way of helping you be successful working with real estate agents. Okay, be sure to watch that next video, and I'll see you on the next video.